The three sons of Kelthara Prime beat down on the academy courtyard with their usual triple-threat intensity, and I was seriously regretting my decision to take outdoor recess duty. My name is Vorna, and I teach xenobiology to a classroom full of overexcited cubs who think throwing mud at each other counts as scientific observation. Today, though? Today was different. We had a human in our school. Not just any human, mind you. A small one. A juvenile. The Galactic Council had approved some ridiculous cultural exchange program, and somehow our institution got selected to host the first human child in this sector. Lucky us, right? Her name was Maya Torres, and she stood barely 4 feet tall, with dark brown skin that seemed to absorb the sunlight rather than reflect it, and thick black hair pulled back into what she called a ponytail. She wore the standard academy uniform, but somehow it looked different on her. More, I don't know, scrappy? Like she might start climbing things at any moment. The other species kept their distance. Zillion cubs, with their 6 eyes and crystalline scales, huddled near the water fountain. Raptath younglings, normally the bullies of the playground, suddenly found the ground very interesting. Even the Morthak twins, who feared nothing and nobody, gave her a wide berth. Humans had a reputation, you see. Their world was classified as a death planet. Category 9, the same rating as Vexor 13, where the atmosphere itself tried to kill you, and Gormeth, where the plants were sentient and hungry. Earth was apparently a nightmare wrapped in an ocean, wrapped in a thin layer of breathable air, held together by sheer spite and natural selection. And this little girl came from there. I watched her walk toward the climbing structure, that bizarre contraption the maintenance crew had installed last cycle. She moved with this odd confidence, not arrogant exactly, but like she expected the universe to make room for her rather than the other way around. That is when I noticed Kretch. Kretch was a Vornal cub, all bristling purple fur and bad attitude. His parents were diplomats, which meant he thought rules did not apply to him. He had been a thorn in my side since the semester started, constantly testing boundaries, picking fights, stealing lunches. Your typical entitled brat, except with venomous spines and the ability to see in infrared. He was gathering his crew. 5 other cubs, various species, all with that same look in their eyes. The look that said trouble was brewing. They started moving toward Maya. I shifted my weight, ready to intervene, but I wanted to see how this would play out. Professional curiosity, you understand. How would a human child react to social pressure from alien peers? The xenopsychology journals would eat this up. Maya had climbed halfway up the structure, her small hands gripping the bars with surprising strength. She was humming something. A tune I did not recognize. Human music? Probably. They were obsessed with music, from what I had read in the briefing materials. Kretch positioned himself at the base of the climbing structure, blocking her way down. His friends fanned out in a semicircle. Classic intimidation formation. I had seen it 100 times. "Hey, human," Kretch called out, his translator rendering his words in standard galactic common. "This is our climbing structure. We don't share with aliens." The irony of an alien calling another species alien was not lost on me. Maya stopped climbing. She looked down at them, her head tilting slightly to one side. Then, and I swear on the 3 sons I am not making this up, she smiled. Not a nervous smile, not an uncertain smile. A smile that said she found this amusing. "Your climbing structure?" she said, her voice clear and calm. "Funny, I do not see your name on it." One of Kretch's friends, a Sylphine with too many teeth, hissed, "Get down before we make you get down." Maya's smile got wider. "Make me? You and what army?" Oh, this was getting good. I activated my wrist recorder. Documentation purposes. Obviously. Kretch's spine started to bristle, a sign of agitation in Vornals. "You think you are tough because you come from a death planet? My cousin fought in the Periphery Wars. Real warriors. Not some squishy little thing that probably cries when it rains." "Squishy?" Maya said, and there was something in her tone now. Something sharp. "Yeah, we are squishy. No scales, no shells, no natural armor. You know why?" She dropped from the climbing structure. Just dropped. A good 8 feet. landing in a crouch that absorbed the impact like she had springs in her legs. The cubs backed up a step. Even I felt my posterior tendrils twitch. Maya straightened up, dusting off her hands. We are squishy because we don't need armor. We hunt things with armor. We eat things with armor. We look at something covered in spikes and venom and scales, and we think, I wonder how that tastes with hot sauce. Kretsch tried to laugh, but it came out strangled. You are bluffing. You are just a soft, weak little... Weak, Maya interrupted. Buddy, humans are endurance predators. You know what that means? It means we chase prey until it collapses from exhaustion. For hours, days if we have to. We don't give up. Ever. It is literally built into our biology. This was fascinating. The briefing materials had mentioned human persistence hunting, but seeing the psychological application in real time? Outstanding. One of the other cubs, a Thraxian with iridescent wings, spoke up. Big words for someone surrounded. Maya looked at each of them in turn, and I saw something flicker in her eyes. Calculation? Assessment? She was evaluating threats. A child, maybe 9 or 10 years old by human standards, and she was evaluating threats like a tactical officer. Surrounded, she repeated slowly. Right. Here is the thing about humans. We bond with predators. The apex. Predators on our planet. We made them into pets. We live with them. We cuddle with them. I have a dog back home named Bruno who weighs more than I do, has jaws that could crush bone, and he lets me use him as a pillow. Why? Because he knows I am more dangerous than he is. She was bluffing. Had to be. What kind of species domesticates apex predators? Humans, apparently. Kretsch was losing his nerve. I could see it in the way his spines flattened slightly. But he had committed to the confrontation in front of his friends, and backing down meant losing face. He made the worst decision possible. He lunged at her. Now, Vornal cubs are not exactly harmless. Those spines can deliver a nasty toxin, nothing fatal to most species, but definitely painful. Kretsch was aiming for her arm, probably thinking he would sting her and she would run away crying. Maya was not there when he arrived. She had sidestepped so fast I almost missed it, and as Kretsch stumbled past her, off balance, she stuck out her foot and tripped him. He went down hard, face first into the dirt. The courtyard went silent. Every cub, every juvenile, every youngling stopped what they were doing and stared. Kretsch pushed himself up, dirt stuck to his face, spines quivering with humiliation and rage. I am going to what? Maya said, and now there was no smile. Her face had gone cold. Sting me? Go ahead and try. But here's what will happen. You will sting me, it will hurt, and then I will still be standing. And you know what the scary thing about humans is? Pain makes us angry. And you really, really do not want to see an angry human. I should have intervened then. I know I should have. But I was rooted to the spot, watching this tiny human child face down 6 larger aliens without a trace of fear. That was when things got weird. And when I say weird, I mean by human standards, which is really saying something. I heard it before I saw it. A low, rumbling growl that seemed to vibrate through the ground. Several cubs looked around nervously, searching for the source. Maya's expression changed completely. The coldness melted away, replaced by what I can only describe as exasperated affection. Oh no, she muttered. Not now, Brutus. I told you to stay in the dormitory. Brutus? A creature emerged from behind the supply shed. Now, I have encountered many species in my 17 years as an educator. I have seen vorpal serpents, Krellian stingers, Vexorian shadow beasts. I have watched nature documentaries about the most terrifying predators in known space. None of them prepared me for a honey badger. It was small, maybe 2 feet long, with a silver-gray stripe running along its black body. Its face was almost cute, if you ignored the eyes. Those eyes were pure murder given form. They fixed on Kretsch with the intensity of a targeting computer, and it was heading straight for Maya. Several cubs screamed. One of them fainted. I don't blame them. The creature reached Maya and, without breaking stride, climbed up her leg like it was the most natural thing in the universe. Its claws, and I could see they were substantial claws, dug into her uniform but apparently not her skin. She did not even flinch. Within seconds, the animal was perched on her shoulder, still making that low growling sound, still staring at Kretch. "Class," I said, finding my voice finally. "Nobody move. Stay very still." Maya sighed. "It is okay, Teacher Vorna. He is not going to attack unless someone does something stupid. Brutus is, well, he is protective. That," I said carefully, "is a Terran honey badger." I read the wildlife briefing. It said, and I quote, "Do not approach under any circumstances. Honey badgers fear nothing. Honey badgers fight lions. Honey badgers eat venomous snakes for breakfast. Why in the three suns do you have one? And why is it in my school?" Maya scratched the creature under its chin. It leaned into her hand, the growl subsiding to a rumbling purr. "He is my support animal. I have anxiety, and Brutus helps. The council approved his presence, remember? It was in the paperwork." I remembered no such thing. I was going to have words with the administrator who processed that paperwork. Many words. Loud words. Kretch was backing away slowly. His earlier bravado completely evaporated. His friends had already scattered. "Smart kids. Support animal," I repeated. "You bring a creature classified as a Class 4 threat to an elementary school, and you call it a support animal." "He is very supportive," Maya said defensively. Brutus chattered, showing teeth that looked far too sharp for comfort. "See, he is saying hello." That was not saying hello. That was saying, "I know 50 ways to disembowel you and I am considering all of them." "Maya," I said, keeping my voice level, "I need you to take Brutus back to your dormitory. Immediately. We will discuss this with Principal Threll." She nodded, but then looked at Kretch, who was still frozen in place. "You okay?" she asked him. Actually asked the cub who had just tried to bully her if he was okay. Humans. I would never understand them. Kretch nodded frantically, his spines pressed flat against his body in submission. "Good," Maya said. "Hey, sorry about tripping you. That was kind of mean. But maybe next time, do not try to sting people. It is not cool." She turned and walked toward the dormitory building, the honey badger still perched on her shoulder like the universe's most terrifying parrot. Every student in the courtyard gave her a path so wide you could have driven a cargo hauler through it. I stood there in the triple sunlight, my brain trying to process what I had just witnessed. A human child had faced down 6 bullies without breaking a sweat, then casually strolled away with a creature that the Galactic Wildlife Federation classified as one of the 10 most dangerous animals in known space. An animal she apparently cuddled with for emotional support. My wrist communicator chimed. It was Principal Threll. "Vorna." His voice crackled through the speaker. "I am getting reports of some kind of incident in the courtyard. Something about a predator." "Yes, sir," I said, still watching Maya disappear into the building. "We need to talk about the human support animal. And possibly our insurance coverage. And maybe our planetary defense grid." "It cannot be that bad." I laughed. Actually laughed. The kind of slightly unhinged laugh that happens when your sense of reality has been fundamentally challenged. "Sir," I said, "a 10-year-old human just brought a honey badger to school and used it to intimidate 6 older students, and the honey badger likes her. They cuddle. She scratches it under the chin." There was a long silence on the other end. "Humans," Principal Threll finally said. "Humans," I agreed. I looked around the courtyard. Normal play had not resumed. The cubs were all clustered in small groups, talking in hushed voices, occasionally glancing toward the dormitory building. The social dynamics of the entire school had just shifted. Maya Torres, the new human girl, was no longer an unknown quantity. She was something far more dangerous. She was interesting. And she had a honey badger. My teaching career was about to get a lot more complicated. But you know what? I was actually looking forward to it. How many xenobiology teachers could say they had observed human-animal bonding in a multicultural school environment? This was going to make my reputation. Or end my career. One or the other. I headed toward the principal's office, already composing my incident report in my head. How exactly does one document this? Student brought illegal predator to school. Used said predator for emotional support. Predator prevented physical altercation. No injuries sustained. Recommend reviewing support animal policies. Behind me, I heard one of the cubs whispering to his friend, "Did you see how fast she moved?" I did not even see her dodge. Forget that. Did you see the teeth on that thing? That badger could take down a Krellian hunter. I heard humans keep them as pets. Can you imagine? Yeah, I thought. I can imagine. That is the problem. I reached the administrative building and palmed the door controls. As it slid open, I caught my reflection in the polished metal. My posterior tendrils were still twitching. First day of having a human student, and already my nervous system was shot. This was going to be one interesting semester. Principal Threll looked like he had aged 10 cycles in the past hour. His usually vibrant blue skin had faded to a sickly pale shade, and his eye stalks drooped at angles I had never seen before. Behind him, through his office window, I could see the entire administrative staff huddled around a holographic display, watching security footage of the courtyard incident on repeat. She petted it, Threll said, his voice hollow. She actually petted the creature while it was making threat displays at other students. Technically, sir, that was affection between bonded species, I offered, trying to sound professional despite my own frayed nerves. The research indicates humans form deep emotional connections with animals that would normally prey upon smaller creatures. Threll's eye stalks swiveled toward me with disturbing precision. Vorna, I have been an educator for 32 years. I have handled explosive Tellurian larvae. I have managed Vorthak youngsters during their aggressive molting phase, and I once talked down a Krellian parent who thought our standardized testing was culturally insensitive. But this is beyond my experience. What did the council say? I asked, settling into the chair across from his desk. The furniture here was designed for Threll's species, which meant my legs dangled awkwardly above the floor. Great. Nothing like feeling like a child while discussing a crisis, they said. Threll paused to pull up a message on his console, and I am reading directly here. The honey badger named Brutus has been fully documented, vaccinated, and cleared for interspecies educational environments. His presence supports the mental health of student Maya Torres and should be accommodated under Galactic Inclusion Directive 7-4. I blinked all three of my primary eyes simultaneously. They cleared a honey badger for school. A honey badger. Apparently the human delegation was very persuasive. Something about how refusing would constitute discrimination against differently bonded species. Threll rubbed his feeding tendrils in agitation. They also attached a 17-page document detailing human emotional support animal protocols. Did you know humans have support peacocks? Miniature horses? Something called a bearded dragon, which is neither bearded nor a dragon? Earth is weird, I said flatly. Earth is terrifying, Threll corrected. But the council has spoken, and Maya Torres can keep her support animal on campus, provided it does not actually injure anyone. A thought occurred to me. Sir, what about the other students? Their parents are going to lose their minds when they hear about this. As if summoned by my words, Threll's communicator exploded with incoming messages. His eye stalks tracked the scrolling notifications with mounting horror. 17 messages in the last 3 minutes. Make that 20. 25. I leaned forward, reading the subject lines upside down. Parent concerns regarding dangerous predator. Immediate withdrawal request. Legal action inquiry. Safety protocol violation. Is my child in danger? And then, surprisingly, can my child also bring a support animal? Threll noticed that one too. His skin flickered through several colors before settling on defeated gray. I need to call an emergency parent meeting, tonight, before this spirals further out of control. Want me to prep materials? I asked. I can put together an informational presentation about honey badgers, human bonding practices, safety measures. Vorna, Threll interrupted gently. I want you to be there, but please, try not to look terrified. Parents can smell fear. Fair point. The emergency meeting was scheduled for sunset, which gave me approximately 4 hours to become an expert on human support animals and convince myself that having a honey badger in my classroom was totally normal and fine, and not at all likely to result in catastrophic injury. I spent those 4 hours doing research that made my anterior brain hurt. Humans, I learned, had domesticated over 40 different species, not just herbivores or small creatures, but apex predators. Wolves became dogs, wildcats became house cats. They kept snakes, lizards, birds of prey, and something called ferrets, which were apparently tiny tubes of chaos with teeth. The more I read, the more I understood why the Galactic Council had classified Earth as a death planet. It was not just the environment, it was the inhabitants. Humans had looked at a world trying to kill them and decided to make friends with the things doing the killing. Insane. Absolutely insane. But also, grudgingly, kind of impressive. By the time the meeting started, the auditorium was packed. Every parent who could make it showed up, along with several who probably should not have. I spotted Kretsch's parents in the front row, looking furious. Great. Principal Threll took the stage, his skin shifting through calming purple tones. A practiced technique for dealing with anxious crowds. Thank you all for coming on such short notice. I know you have concerns about the safety of your cubs, and I want to address those immediately. A Vornal parent, probably Kretsch's mother based on the spine configuration, stood up without waiting to be called on. You allowed a Class 4 threat into our school. My son could have been killed. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Threll raised his primary manipulators for silence. I understand your concern, Magistrate Vrell. However, the situation requires context. Teacher Vorna, would you please share what you witnessed? Oh good, throw me to the angry mob. Thanks, boss. I stood up, my legs feeling distinctly wobbly. The honey badger, Brutus, only appeared after your son and 5 other students surrounded and threatened a smaller, younger student. The animal's behavior was protective, not aggressive. It did not attack, did not approach the other students, and made no move to harm anyone. My son said the creature showed its teeth. Magistrate Vrell protested. Yes, I agreed. After your son attempted to physically assault Maya Torres, the honey badger responded to a genuine threat against its bonded human. That caused a stir. Several parents started talking at once. A Raptath parent with impressive crest feathers raised a claw. Are you saying my child is now in danger because of this human and her predator? No, I said firmly. I am saying your children are learning a valuable lesson. The lesson being that actions have consequences, and bullying will not be tolerated. Magistrate Vrell's spines bristled dangerously. My son is not a bully. He was simply establishing social hierarchy, which is normal for cubs his age. By attempting to envenom a child half his size? I shot back. Fascinating definition of normal. Threll cleared his throat loudly, a sound like rocks grinding together. Let us focus on solutions. The Galactic Council has approved Brutus as a legitimate support animal. However, we can implement additional safety protocols. The honey badger will remain in Maya's quarters when not required for her emotional well-being. During school hours, if the animal must be present, it will be in designated safe zones only. Safe zones? Someone called out. What part of a honey badger is safe? A new voice spoke up from the back of the auditorium. May I address the assembly? Everyone turned. Standing in the doorway was a human adult, the first I had seen in person. She was tall, probably close to 6 feet, with auburn hair pulled back in a complex braid, and wearing diplomatic credentials on her uniform. Ambassador Keiko Larson, according to her identification badge. Threll gestured for her to approach. Ambassador, please. We would welcome your input. Larson walked down the center aisle with confident, measured steps. When she reached the stage, she surveyed the assembled parents with an expression I could not quite read. Amusement? Concern? Both? I understand you are worried, she began, her voice carrying easily through the space. You have been told humans are dangerous, that our planet is hostile, that we bond with predators and survive in environments that would kill most species within hours. All of this is true. Not the opening I expected. Several parents shifted nervously. But here is what you have not been told, Larson continued. We are also fiercely protective of children. All children, not just our own. Maya Torres was sent here because she is curious, brave, and wants to learn about the galaxy. She was also sent here because we trust you to see past your fears. Magistrate Vrel stood again. Pretty words, Ambassador. But they do not address the fact that a dangerous animal is loose in our school. Brutus is not loose, Larson corrected calmly. He is bonded to Maya and responds to her commands. Honey badgers are intelligent, trainable, and loyal. Yes, they are fierce. But so are Raptath juveniles during fledging season, and we do not ban them from school. That is different, the Raptath parent objected. We are a civilized species. So are humans, Larson said, and there was steel in her voice now. We domesticated fire, split the atom, mapped our genome, and figured out faster than light travel. We did all of that while coexisting with creatures that could kill us. Not in spite of the danger, but because of it. Living with predators taught us caution, respect, and the value of trust. She turned to address the entire assembly. Your children will learn more from Maya and Brutus than any textbook could teach them. They will learn that strength comes in many forms, that judging others by appearance is foolish, that the galaxy is bigger and stranger than they imagined, or they will learn to fear humans, someone muttered. Larson smiled, and it was not a friendly expression. If your children learn anything from this experience, I hope it is that humans make better friends than enemies. We remember kindness. We also remember cruelty. The threat was subtle but unmistakable. Do not harm our child. Threll intervened quickly. I think we can all agree that this situation requires adjustment from everyone. Ambassador Larson, would you be willing to conduct educational sessions about Earth species and human culture? Absolutely. Larson agreed immediately. In fact, I brought materials with me. Perhaps a screening would help? She pulled out a small device and projected a hologram into the air. Images filled the space above our heads. Humans playing with dogs, children riding horses, a family cuddling with a massive feline that the caption identified as a Maine Coon cat. These are companions, Larson narrated. Partners, friends. We do not see them as weapons or threats. We see them as family. The next image showed a young human girl, maybe 5 years old, asleep in a dog bed with 3 enormous dogs curled around her protectively. This, Larson said softly, is trust. The kind of trust we are asking you to extend to Maya. She will not hurt your children. Neither will Brutus. But if you continue to treat them as threats, as outsiders, as something to fear and drive away, then you prove that humanity has no place in your galactic council. Silence fell over the auditorium. A small voice spoke up from the side. I think the human is nice. Everyone turned to look. It was a Zillion cub, probably 7 or 8 years old, with bright green scales. She helped me yesterday when I dropped my lunch. She did not have to, but she did. And she smiled at me. Another cub chimed in, this one a Thraxian. She complimented my wings. No one ever compliments my wings. More voices joined, cubs I had not noticed in the audience. Apparently some students had snuck in to watch the proceedings. She knows funny jokes. She shared her strange human food with me. It was called peanut butter, and it was amazing. She does not care that I have 6 eyes. She said I must see the universe differently, and that was cool. Kretsch stood up slowly. His parents immediately tried to pull him back down, but he shrugged them off. She apologized to me, he said quietly. After I tried to hurt her, she apologized for being mean. What kind of person does that? A good person, another cub answered. That is what kind. I felt something shift in the room. The atmosphere changed from hostile to uncertain to, maybe, just maybe, hopeful. Magistrate Vrel looked at her son, then back at the stage. Her spines lowered slightly. If my son was the aggressor, then I suppose we owe Maya an apology as well. Threll seized the moment. Then we are agreed? Maya Torres and her support animal may remain, with appropriate safety guidelines and continued monitoring. A vote was called. Hands, claws, tentacles, and various appendages rose into the air. Not unanimous, but a clear majority. The human student could stay. As the meeting dissolved into smaller discussions, I found myself standing next to Ambassador Larson. That was impressive, I told her. The way you turned the mood around. I learned from watching Maya, Larson admitted. That child has more emotional intelligence than most adults I know. She knew exactly what she was doing when she brought Brutus to school. Wait, I said slowly. You mean she planned this? Larson's smile was mysterious. Maya understands fear. She also understands that once you face your fear and realize it will not hurt you, it loses its power. The cubs were always going to be afraid of her. So she gave them something bigger to be afraid of, something that turned out to be harmless when properly introduced. I thought about that, about Maya standing calmly while Brutus perched on her shoulder, showing the other students that she controlled the situation, demonstrating that humans could be trusted with power. Clever, terrifyingly clever for a 10-year-old. She is going to be trouble, is not she? I asked. Oh, absolutely, Larson agreed cheerfully, but the good kind of trouble. The kind that makes you question everything you thought you knew and come out better for it. The next day, I watched Maya enter the classroom with Brutus on her shoulder as usual. This time, though, instead of fear, I saw curiosity. Cubs crowded around her desk, asking questions. Does he really eat snakes? Can I touch him? Just a little? What does he eat for lunch? Maya answered each question patiently, letting the braver students pet Brutus under her careful supervision. The honey badger, for his part, seemed to understand he was on display. His aggressive posturing from yesterday was gone, replaced by a calm acceptance of the attention. Kretch approached last, hesitant and clearly nervous. Hey Maya, I am sorry. About yesterday. It was wrong. Maya looked up at him and smiled. Apology accepted. Want to start over? I am Maya. I am from Earth, and this is Brutus. Kretch extended a manipulator carefully. I am Kretch. I am from Vornal Prime, and I am an idiot sometimes. They shook, human hand to alien claw, and I realized I was witnessing something historic. First contact, not between governments or ambassadors, but between children. The real kind of first contact, where individuals met as people, rather than representatives. The rest of the day proceeded normally, or as normally as anything could proceed with a honey badger in the classroom. Brutus curled up under Maya's desk during lessons, occasionally peeking out to observe the proceedings. The students slowly relaxed, realizing the creature was not going to suddenly rampage through the room. During lunch, something unexpected happened. A group of cubs invited Maya to sit with them. She accepted, Brutus trotting along beside her, and soon the table was filled with laughter and animated conversation. I watched from my monitoring station as species barriers dissolved, replaced by the universal language of children finding common ground. By the end of the week, Maya Torres was no longer the weird human with the scary pet. She was just Maya, a student who happened to be human, who happened to have excellent taste in support animals, and who happened to be remarkably good at xenobiology homework. Kretch and Maya became unlikely friends, often paired together for group projects. The irony of the former bully and the human child working side by side was not lost on the faculty. Threll mentioned it might make a good case study for the Journal of Interspecies Education. 3 months into the semester, I found myself actually enjoying having Maya in my class. She asked insightful questions, challenged assumptions, and had a knack for seeing patterns other students missed. Plus, Brutus turned out to be an excellent teaching aid. Nothing made cubs pay attention quite like a honey badger demonstrating predatory behavior during a lesson on food chains. The Galactic Council took notice. Other schools began requesting human exchange students. Cultural barriers started breaking down across the sector. All because one small human girl and her terrifying, adorable support animal showed everyone that differences were not things to fear. They were things to celebrate. On the last day before winter break, Maya gave a presentation about Earth. She talked about oceans and forests, cities and cultures, the vast diversity of her homeworld. Then she showed images of other animals humans lived with. Bears in backyards, deer in gardens, raccoons stealing food, crows bringing gifts. We share our world, Maya explained to the wrapped classroom. Not because we have to, but because we want to. Life is better when you are not alone. Brutus chittered his agreement from her shoulder. After class, Maya approached my desk. Teacher Vorna, thank you. For what? I asked, genuinely curious. For giving me a chance. For not judging me before you got to know me. For being fair. She paused, then added, and for not freaking out too badly when Brutus showed up. I laughed, the sound coming easily now. Oh, I definitely freaked out. I just did it internally where you could not see it. Maya grinned. That is what humans call being professional. Is that what we call it? I thought it was called survival instinct. She laughed too, and Brutus made a sound suspiciously like a chuckle. That honey badger had a sense of humor. Who knew? As Maya left the classroom, I pulled up my personal logs and began writing. Not a formal report this time, but personal observations. Notes about breakthrough moments, about barriers falling, about the day a human child taught an entire school what courage really meant. My communicator chimed. Principal Threll. Vorna. Got a minute? Sure, sir. What is happening? We just received approval for 5 more human exchange students next semester. They are sending them to us specifically because of our success with Maya. He paused. Think you can handle it? I looked around my empty classroom, thought about the chaos and wonder of the past few months, considered the ways my own perspective had shifted. Yes, I said. I think I can, as long as they leave their honey badgers at home. Threll laughed. About that, one of them has something called a ferret. A what? Apparently it is like a furry snake with legs. The humans describe it as delightful. I put my head down on my desk. We are going to need a bigger insurance policy. Already working on it, Threll assured me. Welcome to interspecies education, Vorna. It only gets weirder from here. He was right about that. But weird, I was learning, was not the same as bad. Sometimes weird was wonderful. Sometimes weird was exactly what you needed to shake up your worldview and remind you that the galaxy was bigger, stranger, and more amazing than you ever imagined. Sometimes weird came in the form of a 10-year-old girl with a honey badger on her shoulder and enough courage to face down bullies twice her size. And sometimes, just sometimes, weird changed everything for the better. I pulled up the roster for next semester, already planning lessons that would accommodate human students and whatever creatures they brought with them. Ferrets. What even were ferrets? Only one way to find out. I smiled to myself, feeling something I had not felt in years. Anticipation, excitement, the thrill of genuine curiosity about what tomorrow might bring. Teaching had become interesting again, all thanks to one human girl and her impossibly brave, impossibly fierce, impossibly perfect support animal. The galaxy would never be the same, and honestly, I was okay with that.